Ready to rock with Coach Eby, talking track and field as we get ready for the OAC Championships. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Haven't caught up since the indoor national meet down in Winston-Salem, which was both a while ago and like yesterday.
Right. Yep.
That's the deal this time of year. Give us an idea how the outdoor season's gone from your perspective.
Cold and windy. The weather has been a little rough this spring, especially for our crew and the sprinters. And I mean, we went down to Virginia, Washington, and our first meet, and it was 70, but it was also like 30-mile-an-hour winds. And then the next couple of weeks, it was like sideways rain or sleet or snow and 30 degrees. But we've had some really good performances, and we're ready to go for conference, and hosting at home is always a fun thing, especially for the student athletes and them getting to sleep in their own beds and do some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and you haven't done that in a few years, which makes it pretty unique.
Yeah, so we have not done it for a couple of years, but we are hosting outdoor this year, indoor next year, and cross country the following year. So we will have a conference championship at home over the next 3 years. So our youngsters will have plenty of opportunities to compete at home at one of the biggest meets of the year, which will be good.
Awesome. You know, I feel like as we kind of recap on a weekly basis, sort of look at the week that was and sort of end the show looking ahead for a week, there's a lot of meets that you guys compete in, maybe not as a full team, a lot of unscored meets, just to keep the competitive juices flowing. I know you had a couple of those opportunities last weekend. As a coach, what do you hope to accomplish in some of those meets where you're not necessarily, sending an entire team to? For like Jesse Owens, we took Alyssa and Hope over there, and that is specifically to get them ready to run well at a national meet. National meets are a lot more physical than most of the meets that we go to, and so the level of competition is just that much higher and more competitive, and so it really gives them an opportunity to get used to what that environment is going to be like. And a lot of the meets that we go to, especially for our national caliber kids, there might be one or maybe two other people in a race that they can compete against and run against, but when you go to a meet like that, you're in a large group and everybody's kind of on that level. And so specifically, that's what we were trying to get accomplished, at least out of Jesse Owens. This past weekend was a little bit of last week of classes. We have an opportunity to compete on a Thursday, but some kids didn't want to miss class, and so there's a meet on a Saturday, but the conference meets on a Thursday, Friday, so we're just trying to get fit things in as best we can with the crew that we have, and the more days that we can have recovery going into conference, the better off we are. And but then some other people are trying to hit some marks, and some people are trying to get used to doubling, and so we had like Connor Foodie ran both nights and ran a 1500 on one night and an 800 the next day, 2 days later, and so just trying to get people ready for postseason essentially. For most of those, we try to keep the team together as much as we possibly can, but we also want to try to give opportunities for some of those better kids to compete at the level that they need to be really successful when national meets roll around. Joe Eby, our guest at Mike's Bar and Grill in Berea. Maybe before we talk a little bit about the upcoming OAC Championship, you mentioned the national meet. I know it's in Northeast Ohio this spring, which is awesome. And Alyssa and Hope had a chance to compete in the 1 mile and the indoor. Look, you finished top 10 in the country in an event that's pretty special. I don't care if it went the way you wanted to or not. Yeah. What do you think Alyssa and Hope took away from that experience that hopefully they can carry into the outdoor championships?
Yeah. I think for Hope, she had her eyes opened a little bit on making sure that she had a specific plan going into the meet and not quite as wide-eyed as she has been the past couple of times that she's been there. And so I think her focus has gotten significantly better from Winston-Salem until now, and it definitely has a
she's on a mission at this point and is running like it. Alyssa kind of has been there, done that type of thing, and I think for her the biggest thing was we went into the year thinking she was going to try to run the 3K and the 5K, and we put her in the mile because that was her best shot at being an All-American, and her goal when she goes to nationals is to be an All-American and try to finish as high as she can. And so for her to really get out of her comfort zone and do that was pretty special. And every time that you get an opportunity to compete at that kind of level, you become a little bit more comfortable with it. It's always a big stage to be on, but it becomes a little bit more manageable every time, I think,
Sure.
because the faces are the same, and you realize that they're human beings just like you are. I was standing next to Esther Seeland's dad during the 800 and the 3K, and she's national champion in the 800, one of the fastest ever in Division III, and he made the comment of, oh man, she gets so nervous before some of these races, and it's like, see, you're not the only one. The best one out here also, has some nerves and gets worked up for some of these meets too. And so I think just being able to be around those environments and have those random conversations with you don't know who, I think any of those stories can help people feel more comfortable in the environment, and the fact that they're not the only ones standing on the starting line feeling a little nervous.
Let's move maybe toward the upcoming championships in conference. And why don't we start on the distance side, since I know you work so closely with that group.
Yeah.
Talked about Alyssa and Hope, and certainly they have teammates that are going to run distance as well. Also on the guys' side, what are we looking for?
Yeah, we've got a bunch qualified in the steeple on the women's side, so we have 5 of them that are on the women's side, which is pretty cool because you have to be in the top 12 in order to get more than 4, because you're only supposed to have 4 per event.
Sure.
So they're pretty fired up about that. And the 4x8 is always a big deal for us. We won it in 18 and 19. We got beat last year. We've won the DMR a couple times, so that's kind of the equivalent for outdoor. So, trying to see what we can do there. And and then obviously Alyssa and Hope trying to get after a bunch of individual events. And I don't want to try to show too many cards here because entries aren't in yet.
Understood.
But they're gonna try to go do their thing and win as many events as they can and score as many points for the team as they can. And on the guys' side, we've got a pretty young crew. We've got a couple in the steeplechase. We've got a couple in one in the 10K. Connor Foodie, who I mentioned earlier, is he's qualified in the 15 and the 8, and he's been racing very well. He hasn't been in some of the hotter heats, but he's been winning a lot of heats that he's been in, which I think really bodes well when you show up to conference, because if you can, even if you're in the slow heat, if you can win your heat, you're probably still going to score a point or two.
Sure.
And for somebody like him, if he can go and do that, that would be pretty special. So that's kind of the distance side of things.
Sure.
On the guys' side, we've got Shadero, who has won the conference meet. It was one of the most exciting races of the meet indoors, and he's ranked 3rd in the 110s right now, and has been looking really good. And so we're really excited to see what he can do. And he's another guy that kind of has a nose for the finish line, and hopefully he can rise to the occasion again. And Mason Kiesel did a phenomenal job indoors and had a huge performance at the indoor conference meet, and he's ranked 4th going in the shot. And then Joe Barnes has had a really good outdoor season, currently ranked 8th in the disc, which is not really his primary event. He's more of a jav guy, and so he's 5th in the jav. So just trying to scrape as many points there as we can get together, and hoping that Carter Almeida could pick up a point in the steeplechase or something along those lines, and 4x8 can kind of rise to the occasion and maybe squeak out a couple extra points there. And but on the men's side, our guys did a really good job indoors of just fighting and clawing and scratching for every point that they could get, and we're going to need to go and do that again.
Just on the ladies' side, yeah.
Yeah, on the ladies' side, once again, really young team, but Abby Collier's been doing a really good job, and she's somebody that can pick up some points in the 200 or 400 or both. Obviously, Hope and Alyssa. Gloria is ranked really high in the high jump and has been getting better every week and having some really good performances there. And, Abby Lorenzik is ranked up there in the triple jump, so hopefully she can snag some points. And then our women's throwers have they're littered all over the top 8, so top 8 are scorers. So Abby Rodriguez, Catherine Dial, Beth Schultz, Lily Johns are all in at least one or multiple events. And so once again, then we've got a couple others that I don't have written down on here that I know are 9th, 10th, 11th. And so those are the people you really need to move
score
up
some points.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
what would constitute a successful weekend for you? Shy of winning a conference championship, because that's certainly the goal.
Just trying to get as many conference champs individually as we can. I think just trying to be higher than our ranking. We don't. Past couple years, we've really harped on, okay, here's where we're ranked going in based on entries and points and all that stuff. And our group just has not responded very well to that. And so really the reality for us is okay, go take care of your business individually. Try to score as many points as you can individually and let the team stuff take care of themselves itself. And so our guys, as I said, did a really good job, and I think we were 5th or 6th indoors, and that was way higher than what we were ranked going in, and our ladies were just out of 3rd or 4th and somewhere in that range. And so if we could kind of repeat some of that stuff, adding a couple extra throws, we've got a really good throw squad. That helps the cause, right? And so really just competing at home, defending your home track or circle or runway or whatever it is, and trying to get a couple move-up points and just doing the best that we can is, ultimately that's all you can ask.
We're excited to follow it and glad to be hosting.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
looking forward to a fun couple of days.
Awesome.
Thanks for spending some time with us,
Absolutely.
and wish you all the best.
Yep, appreciate you.
All right, Yellow Jacket men's and women's track and field team Thursday, Friday, May 5th and 6th. That's this week in the OAC Outdoor Championships over at Finney Stadium. They'll have the Harrison Dillard Twilight meet on Friday the 13th, and then the National Championship meet a couple of weeks later out at Spire. Time to talk some lacrosse. And